This is the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Wednesday, November 18th. Looking at precipitation over the past 2 weeks, you can see widespread wetting rains covering much of the northern two-thirds of the Great Basin. Our driest spots, looking on the left-hand panel down here across the southern third of Nevada, some areas actually missed precipitation. Also very light amounts across the Arizona Strip and wherever you see those light blues. On the right-hand side, you can see the percent of normal for this time of year over that 2-week period, and it's basically 0 to 10% of normal in these areas of red across southern Nevada and parts of the Arizona Strip. You can see where it is above normal across much of the higher terrain of Idaho, western Wyoming, and areas along and north of the I-80 corridor in Nevada. Snowfall over the past 72 hours on the left-hand side. The areas in yellow are the heaviest amounts of 6 inches or more. On the right-hand side, snow cover or snowpack already getting going pretty well here in the higher terrain of Idaho, across the northern Sawtooth and some of the other national forests there, as well as western Wyoming. A lot of areas have about 1 to 2 feet, even locally 3 feet on the ground, some of the highest terrain, several inches to a foot across the higher terrain of Utah, and of course the Sierra Front. Satellite imagery today looking at a powerful storm system again pushing into the Pacific Northwest. This has been the pattern over the past week and a half or 2 weeks. Storms driving down out of the Gulf of Alaska and then hooking before dropping too far south into the United States, pummeling the Pacific Northwest, perhaps far northern California, but missing a lot of the areas south of the I-80 corridor. This storm will be very similar. As we look at the upper level pattern on the left-hand side, you can see where the deep moisture is in the green, where clouds and precipitation are expected, and where drier air will follow down below. And because we're in the vicinity of low pressure, and because these height lines are packed so tightly together with strong winds, we have excellent overall dispersion areas in the white, given by the extremely strong transport winds here on the left. And some of these transport winds were the ones that fueled the wildfires off the Sierra Front yesterday, but much higher humidity and moisture has since moved in. Excellent vertical dispersion on the right-hand side, several thousand feet above ground level. On Thursday, we do get a push of drier air into Nevada, and the moisture lifts out into parts of central and northern Idaho. Still overall excellent dispersion. We see areas in the white and even in the yellow. The transport winds will lighten up across much of Nevada, but be strongest in parts of Idaho, where you see the green and orange shades, as well as western Wyoming. Vertical mixing in the yellow being several thousand feet above ground level. Similar story on Friday, not much change overall. We do see a bit more in the way of say questionable dispersion, getting a little bit worse. It's because the transport winds are light and we're starting to see a reduction in the vertical mixing heights. The clearing index across Utah with excellent clearing or dispersion in the red. Worse conditions as you go from blue to purple. You can see excellent across much of western central areas. Wednesday starting to go downhill as we go Thursday and Friday as conditions worsen a little bit. As we go into the 3-day precipitation accumulation, light to locally moderate amounts, mainly north of the I-80 corridor, or at least the Idaho border, except for some orographic enhancement across the highest terrain. Otherwise, southern areas stay dry. Further down the road, Saturday, a weak high-pressure ridge building into California and into the western portion of the Great Basin. Drier air overall pushing in Saturday. Vertical dispersion on the right-hand side. On Sunday, a new trough of low pressure approaches. Again, most of the moisture across the Pacific Northwest and staying north of the Idaho border. On Monday, there's a storm. Again, the moisture is staying in the north. Much drier air mass to the south, given by that tannish shade. You can, upper level northwest flow overall. You can see the vertical dispersion getting better as you head further into northern Nevada, northern Utah. And then on Sunday, that moisture lifts out. High pressure starts to build in a little bit on Tuesday. Precipitation accumulation days 4 and 5, very little except for parts of Idaho. Now, further down the road, the 8 to 14, the outlook shows a much wetter than normal signal. So we do expect to see more wetness November 25th to December 1st, where you see areas in the green here, but staying dry again across the southeastern third of the geographic area with near normal to slightly above normal temperatures. And just as a little peek, what we have going on climatologically now is a moderate to perhaps becoming strong La Nina. These are sea surface temperature anomalies. This is the South American coast. This is Mexico. This is Australia here on the left. And this cool pool of water that stretches for thousands of miles has a complex effect on the Pacific jet stream and storm track. Now, typically in a La Nina, when you have that cold ocean water near the equatorial Pacific, it pushes the Pacific jet stream with the moisture a bit further north, and the overall jet stream, which governs the storm track, gets pushed well up into Alaska and then drives down across the western United States, but more inland, and doesn't penetrate too far south. You can see this area of cold here, barely getting down to the Salt Lake. It is drier and warmer than normal, typically across southern Nevada, southern Utah, the Arizona Strip, and we're seeing that pattern kind of play out in what we've seen over the past week and a half, and actually the last month or so. Many of the storms hitting Idaho and Wyoming and maybe far northern Utah, but not much further south. And because of that, this is the latest drought outlook. Extreme to exceptional drought across parts of central and southern Utah into parts of Nevada. And given the dry pattern expected to continue in our southern third of the area due to the La Nina through the winter months, this exceptional drought could spread into more areas as we go through the winter, and that'll set the stage for next fire season, 20 to 21, if nothing changes between now and next spring. This concludes our briefing. Next one on Friday. Have a great day.